Good morning. I'm Dr. Laura Shackelford, and welcome to the Higher View. I'm going to do something different today. I don't have a guest, but I wanted to teach. I want to do a class today on Ho'oponopono. Now, Ho'oponopono is this. Krista, go ahead and put the first slide on, and I'll explain this. So, and then the next one. Thank you. So Ho'oponopono is a little known but extremely powerful self-transformational technique. And the word Ho'oponopono means to make right or to rectify an error. And I got interested in this years ago when Joe Vitale wrote his book on zero limits. And what zero limits talked about was that when you're at zero, which means when you are at peace, that's when we have the power to create what we want. But what happens is we have all these programs running, and our head, these memories are in our subconscious that are there that we're not even aware of. And so when he talked about Dr. Hugh Lin, next slide, please. I got interested in it. Now, this is the person that Dr. Hugh Lin learned from. Ho'oponopono, and she actually she was teaching this ancient Hawaiian practice of forgiveness and reconciliation, traditionally performed by what they called a kahuna, which is a Hawaiian priest. And Morna made this popular, and she taught this method throughout the U.S., Asia, and Europe, and she's been honored as a living treasure of Hawaii. Now, Dr. Hugh Lin, next slide, please. Dr. Hugh Lin is this quirky little Hawaiian guy. Would you show? Yes, thank you. And what happened was his daughter was suffering from shingles. She had shingles for years and she was miserable. And so Dr. Hugh Lin heard about her. I can't say that ihakalakala, whatever, but he goes by Dr. Hugh Lin. And anyway, he took his daughter to her because he heard that she was a great healer. And she healed his daughter of the shingles that she had suffered for years. And so he became an avid student. He really wanted to learn this Hawaiian method, and he really practiced it. And what really caught my attention in the Zero Limits book is that the fact that he practiced this, and they were looking for a psychiatrist, a doctor to in Hawaii for their prison where the mentally prisoners were kept. They were dangerous. They were so dangerous. They were shackled, and it was a very violent place. It was so toxic that they couldn't even keep paint on the walls. The paint, the energy was so toxic that the paint would peel off of the walls. And in fact, when the prisoners were in the hallways, the guards would even walk up against the wall. They were so afraid of these people because they were so mentally challenged. And so Dr. Hugh Lin said, all right, I'll take the job, because they couldn't keep anybody, psychiatrist, in over the prison, but they had to have one. He said, I'll take the job, but I don't want to see any of the patients, any of the inmates. And they go, all right, we need somebody. So what he would do, literally every day, he would sit at his desk and he would pull out their files, and he would do this Hawaiian process. And until he felt complete with that file, then he'd go to the next one. And within, I don't know what period of time, pretty soon they weren't having to shackle the inmates anymore. They weren't having to give them medication. And eventually they were all released. And what happened was he just kept doing this process. And in fact, they closed the prison down because they had released them to less secure places because they didn't need that. So that story really, really interested me. And that's how I got involved in this. And also being ancient Hawaiian, I thought was kind of cool. My dad was born and raised in Maui, but he didn't know about this. And so I want to share this process with you, and I want to share with you because here's what's going on. What we know in science of mind is that our thoughts create our reality. The things, dis-ease is not being at peace. And so the Ho'oponopono brings you back to that place of peace where the power lies. So we're going to talk about that today. Krista, next slide, please. So the only reason for our existence is to discover who we are. And that's a quote from Dr. Hugh Lin. I was fortunate enough after I got interested in this that actually Dr. Hugh Lin he did a workshop in the San Fernando Valley, and I went there to hear him. Just the most delightful, really sweet man, and just talked about how everything is energy. And so that's what we're here for. We're here to discover who we are. And next slide, please. And so what happens is who we truly are is we are children of God, and we all have been created in its image. We are creators. That's what we came here for. We came here to experience life and to create it to experience what we want to do. But how do we create? Next slide. Next slide, Krista. Growth versus protection. Okay, so as a child, we kept getting all these messages. We got I can messages as a child. And then because of the I can messages, if a parent was telling you all the time, you can do that, you can do this, you can do that, then those were the experiences you have as an adult. The I can't messages, oh, you're not smart enough, you're not this, you can't do that, only these kind of people do that, you're not going to ever experience that. Those were the messages that we then created as our experiences as adults. So our childhood programming becomes our programming of habits, of perceptions, and behaviors. So the things that you were taught about as a child, that your parents, that you, whatever, it got into your subconscious. And without you even understanding that these programs were running, they were creating your experiences. They are creating your experiences right here and right now. Next slide, please. So habits are self-reinforcing cycles of belief and perception. All right, so experience shapes our perception. So let's say something happened to you as a child and it was profound. Now what's going to happen is your perception, you're going to start be looking and seeing that, and it's going to twist the way you look at things. And then your perception, then you see it, and then it really reinforces that belief. It really gets into your subconscious. And then that belief reinforces your perception. Now you're going to start seeing it everywhere. And then your experiences reinforces those beliefs. So those beliefs and thoughts, we then start seeing them, experiencing them, seeing them, oh yeah, and now we see them more. And so that has a lot to do with what's going on in our life, what we're experiencing, what we're reacting to, because these are thoughts in our subconscious that we may not even be aware of except by what we see. Next slide. So we're going to do a little science of mind here. So science tells us we have two minds. Think about this. Okay, so the last time you promised yourself you'd get in shape, you made a New Year's resolution, you tried to quit smoking, and you said you'd stop procrastinating this year, or whatever those things that you said, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And you're committed and you were energetic and you're an intelligent person, but somehow you couldn't stick with it. No matter how good your intention is, it just doesn't happen. Well, our two minds are very different. And this is very important to understand how change can take place and why it's difficult. Usually, when we want to change, we're talking to the wrong mind. We're talking to our conscious mind. Next slide, Krista, please. So, our conscious mind is limited in processing. It only can averages 2,000 bits of information per second, whereas our subconscious mind is the expanded processing capacity. Thousands of events, averages 4 billion bits of information per second. So think about this. Your subconscious mind is constantly going. Your subconscious mind is the one that controls your breathing, your heartbeat, your digestion, things that you don't even think about. That subconscious mind is constantly working, constantly processing, doing things without your conscious mind even doing anything about that, other than maybe eating to feed it. But that's the subconscious is so powerful. And remember, the subconscious also is the storehouse of all of your beliefs, your experiences, your controls your perceptions, everything. That's how powerful it is. So next slide, please. So think about this. Your conscious mind is time bound. It's just based on the past and the future. So you think about something that's from the past, and then you think, oh, I'd like this to happen in the future. That's how it's based. And so your conscious mind, you're regretting the past, or you're living and thinking of the future. And like I said before, your subconscious mind is only in the now. That's all it understands. So if you're talking to your subconscious mind and you put your request in the future tense, it doesn't understand. It ignores it and it goes back to digesting your food. So think about this. If you think, oh, I want a relationship. Oh, I want abundance in my life. Oh, I want. Okay, anything you want. I learned this from Neil Donald Walsh in one of his Conversations with God book. He said, anytime you want something, it's like dangling the carrot in front of you. I want that. The universe says, oh, the feeling, the energy that's coming out of you into the universe is that sense of wanting, which means it's never going to be there. All right? Because remember, the subconscious mind, which is the powerful one, is in the now. So it continues to give you the feeling of want. You're never going to get it. And what Neil Donald Walsh says is you have to choose that this is who you are. You have to choose that you are healthy. You have to choose that you are prosperous. You have to choose that you are loved and that you have love in your life. That's the difference. So don't make statements of I want. And one of the things I even with my practitioner students that we talk to them, you don't have to outline how things are going to happen. You just have to be in the now at that zero limit of knowing that it is already yours. Next slide, please. So your conscious mind, it sets goals and judgments, result like to try new things. Whereas your subconscious mind, again, remember, it's habitual. It monitors the operation of the body, your motor functions, your heart rate, your digestion. It prefers the familiar. And you're the one that needs to make the familiar so that it has to respond to that. Next slide, please. So let's think about that. What's bothering you? Your job, your employer, a relative, a friend, spouse, significant other, health, COVID, finances, politics. So, what makes you angry? Anything you have any negativity attached to it or fear. That's what you want. We want to get rid of, right? In Ho'oponopono, offers a very simple solution to conflicts. And by accepting that as you're creating all this, you need to know what's the origin. The origin is from your past. And what Ho'oponopono does is it's erasing. It starts erasing those negative thoughts that are in your subconscious that you aren't really aware of unless you see something out there that disturbs you. All right, so that's kind of what we're going to be talking about here. So next slide. So remember that beliefs are filters for reality. All right, so if you want to know what your belief is, then look at your reality, because it's a reflection back to you of that reality. If you believe in lack, then that is going to be your reality. You're going to be in fear of lack, of losing money, of losing a relationship, your health. If you're in fear in it, what does dis-ease mean? It means dis-ease. That means there's fear there. There's negativity there. And we're the ones that control that. And it's really being controlled by our subconscious mind. So just remember that beliefs are filters for reality. So if you're looking at your reality, just know that that's a reflection of your beliefs in your subconscious. That's what's holding you back. Next slide, please. So breaking the cycle. Think about it. If you can rewrite the software of your mind, you can change its printout of your experience. So that's what I've been talking about. If you can rewrite the software in your subconscious that's running automatically, you'll change the printout. You'll change what's going on the outside, your reality. Next slide, please. So I want you to think about this. If everyone took 100% responsibility for everything they experienced in their life and did not get caught up in blame, then what kind of profound shift would the whole world experience? Right? Think about that. And that's what Dr. Hugh Lin did. He believes, and that's what Ho'oponopono teaches, is that we need to take full responsibility for everything that is experienced in our life. And now I can hear you say that, but I'm not doing that. That person did that, and that was terrible. But here's the thing with Ho'oponopono, and even with Science of Mind or other teachers, is that no matter what happens or what comes up in our life, for us to look at it and think about, what is mine to do here? What do I have the opportunity to learn here? And most importantly is, who do I show up as in relationship to this situation? This is really, really important. This is really the basis for Ho'oponopono, is taking 100% responsibility for everything. Next slide, please. So how do we do that? So what Ho'oponopono does, it's like the delete button. Use of Ho'oponopono's, this is what it says, you can't probably read it. It says, use of Ho'oponopono's techniques erase the memories and thoughts that create our problems. You are today what you were thinking about yesterday. You become what you think. That's really, really I mean, I have to admit, I get caught up too in the news. And yes, I want to be informed, but when it starts affecting me, or when it starts getting me upset, that's when I have to do my Ho'oponopono. All right, next slide. So this is what Morna taught Simeona. This was like a prayer that she did. We are the sum total of our experiences, which is to say that we are burdened by our past. When we experience stress or fear in our lives, if we would look carefully, we would find that the cause is actually a memory. It is the emotions which are tied to these memories which affect us now. The subconscious associates an action or person in the present with something that happened in the past. When this occurs, emotions are activated and stress is produced. Now, I know I've talked about this before, and I still think it's powerful. Think about there are families where, maybe in your own family, where different children had totally different realities about what was going on in the family dynamics. Now, I was born I was born right after like a year after my parents were married. They were really struggling financially. Um, Very difficult. They almost lost their house, and so I was constantly talking, well, no, Laura, we can't do that. We can't afford that. I'd hear them around the kitchen table. Oh my God, how are we going to pay this month? That was being programmed into me. So I want you to remember that. And not that I'm suffering, but it's taken work. And whereas my sister, my mom got pregnant in my senior year in high school, by then my parents were for sure not wealthy, but they were comfortable. They had enough. They were doing fine. And in fact, they bought my sister a car in high school, a little Volkswagen convertible cabriolet, whatever they were called. And so my sister grew up with a different mentality. And I was 19 years older than her. My brother was like 12 years older than her. And so we would spoil her. We would take her skiing. We'd take her on trips because she was like a daughter to us. So Tracy grew up with, yes, of course, there's money to do this. And she lives very well. She has a great husband that provides for her. And she's a manifester. She knows if she wants it, she can have it. We were in some shopping center that we'd never been in down in Orange County. And my mom's from the Philippines. And she said, it'd be really nice if there was a Filipino restaurant here that we could take mom to once in a while. Went around the corner. There was a Filipino restaurant. All right. I mean, what are those chances? She is a manifester. It's because in her subconscious mind, she knows that there's nothing stopping her. She can have whatever she wants, and there's nothing to stop her. This is so important. We believe in God, we believe in a divine intelligence, but yet we don't believe that we are aspects of that divine intelligence, that we are that powerful, that powerful. So we're gonna be working on that. All right. So let's go to the next slide. So Ho'oponopono, it's so simple. These are the 4 things that you say. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Now, you might think, what? I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And that, again, remember, Ho'oponopono means to make perfect. Next slide, Krista. So here's what it means. I'm sorry is an acknowledgement that I created whatever pain I've caused or errors I've made. So when something comes up and you're in pain, you're saying to yourself, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for whatever. You're really speaking to yourself. Forgive me because I did not know that I had that inside of me. All right. So, and thank you. Thank you for allowing me to release and cleanse the memory. I love you is my inner divinity, meaning I love me. So let's go over that. So something happens in your life. And so I'm sorry. You're sorry that you were a part of this. So if somebody comes to you with a problem, let's say, I'm sorry because I created I'm a part of this now. I am a part of this. I'm sorry if there's something that I did that helped cause this. and forgive me because I didn't know that I had that within me. And you're thanking them for allowing you to look at yourself and to cleanse. And so, thank you for allowing me to release this memory. I'm sorry that this even was there. Forgive me for my part in this. Thank you for allowing me to release this. And I love you. I love me. I love the inner divinity within me. Remember again, love is probably one of the most profound, we know it's the most profound energy, right? I love you. I love you. But how many of us really stop and say, I love me? I love, I love me. And what you're saying is when you say, I love you, which is I love me, you are really you are really acknowledging that divinity within you. I love me. I love the God that is within me. I am that God. I am that powerful. And so, as Dr. Hewlin was just so amazing at this workshop, he talked about like before we came into the convention room, the meeting room where we were doing the class, he literally goes into a room an hour before each workshop he gives, and he does the Ho'oponopono. He sits in every chair and he goes, I'm sorry, forgive me, thank you, I love you. Because think of everything. Think everything is energy. The chair you're sitting in right now to watch this, the computer you're using, this is all energy and it absorbs our energy. I always think about in the sanctuary at the center, how many people sit in those chairs that might be sad or hurting or angry about something. Those chairs absorb that energy. And you can also, if you've come to our center, you have felt the energy too of love, because there's so much love that also comes into our sanctuary and that is given out and received. There's this reciprocity of love within our sanctuary. So everything is energy. He he's very sensitive to energy. Okay, I know this is going to sound a little cray cray, but I thought it was a great story that he said even his car, he talks to his car. Think about when you get in your car, how many things do we take for granted? That is an energy. It is living because it is, there are cells there, there's energy, there's atoms, going around and so forth. So he talks to his car and he tells it, I love you, and I'm sorry if I've done anything to neglect you. Forgive me for anything I've done. Thank you for all you do for me, and I love you. Anyway, he was driving. This is the crazy part. He's driving down the street and he comes to a light and he hears his car say to the other car, hi, how are you? And the other car goes, oh, not so good. He said, my owner doesn't change my oil, doesn't take care of me. He said, everything has an energy. So think about that. What energy are you sending out within your own home? To your to your furniture, people talk there's they've done those tests. Remember what the water, how they would put like anger on a bottle and then love on another bottle with water in it, and how they would test the molecules. Our energy affects everything. So anyway, so he heard his cars talking and so forth, and the other car said, his car said, I'm so sorry for you, and so forth. But then it wasn't just Dr. Hewlin. There were other people there. There was a lady who was there at the convention that I think she had been a lawyer. And she said, but what she always wanted to do was she just loved flowers. And so she started doing the Ho'oponopono to the flowers, like in her garden and so forth. And then one day she started doing is going to the flower mart in LA, and she would hear the flower and she would walk in and she'd go, I love you. She just became very sensitive to energy. And she was in the flower mart and the flowers would say, take me. And she would listen, and she would take the flowers that spoke to her, basically, because it's all energy. And she started making these beautiful, like, flower arrangements for friends. Pretty soon, she said she left her law practice and she opened up a little florist shop, and she was very successful. And she said that's all she did was she just did the I'm sorry, forgive me, thank you, I love you. And she would make these fabulous arrangements, and then she was doing what she loved. Now, I know that this probably sounds really crazy. I'm not at that level of sensitivity to energy. Um, and as you really get into this, I really use a lot more. Um, I really focus on thank you, I love you, more than I'm sorry and forgive me. Even if you're in a bad place, if you just say thank you, I love you, or I'm sorry that that this is coming up. What is mine? What is my part in this? Why is this showing up in my life? And there's something inside of me that I need to look at and heal. And so I'm sorry. I'm sorry for anything I've done that I'm not even aware of. Forgive me because I didn't know what was inside of me. And I didn't want to, I'm sorry because I didn't want to cause any pain. And then thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to recognize and cleanse that memory. And I love me. Our next slide, please, Krista. So yeah, so this is when you use it, when you're confronted by a conflict, a violent reaction, an accident, a traumatic event, anything that causes a strong negative emotion to surge up within you. So that's what I've been talking about. It's so, because what happens is when you say those phrases, especially thank you, I love you, even if you just say I love you, I love you, I love you, I'm sorry, you don't even have to say them in any order, just what comes up. Because what it does is it calms you down, it brings you back to the truth of who you are, it brings you into peace. And remember, in Joe Vitale's book, he said zero limits. When you are at that zero, that is where you are the most powerful. That is where you create, because you can't create from this place of fear, negativity, any anxiousness that you have. You're going to create more of that. So you want to be calm. You want to be at peace. All right, next slide, please. So how should it be said? So you can say it out loud, or you can quietly say it to yourself. Most of the time I just say it to myself. It's very rarely that I'm going to say it out loud. I do say it out loud if I'm really, really upset and I really need emphasis. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you, I love you, I love you. Really, I focus on the thank you, I love you, because I know I'm getting to heal. But a lot of times you can, I think Dr. Hugh Lin just does it all the time. He's driving and he's just, thank you, I love you, I'm sorry, please, he's just cleansing. And what he said is even just by saying it, there may not even be an event or something that triggered it. You are cleansing your subconscious. You are filling it with love and acceptance and gratitude just by saying that. I mean, if he could just think about it. Here he has these insane criminals in this prison, did not even meet with them, literally would read their file, read what they did, what were they in there for, what was going on with them. And on each file, he would do the Ho'oponopono method. He never even met them. He just would read their name, and he would sit there, and that's all he did all day long, was go through those files. And one by one, they started, like I said, calming down, didn't need medication. Those patients started painting the building. The employees that had been so terrified would call in sick all the time. They were happy to go to work. They would, interact now with the inmates in a positive way. I mean, that is powerful. That is powerful, but you have to be the one to do it religiously all the time, constantly, or whenever something is triggered in you. That's a great, it's a powerful tool to use. Next slide, Krista. So, to whom are you speaking when you say this phrase? To yourself, your inner divinity, your protectors. This is from them. This is from the Ho'oponopono, the universe, God. So think about that. You're not saying it to the person, the event, the situation. You are saying it to yourself, because what you're doing is you are empowering yourself truly to be at peace, to know that you are this divinity in all situations. There's nothing here for you to be afraid of. It's a false belief in your subconscious mind that is there, that's operating, and just to focus on that. I heard this speaker talk about that we need to understand and really acknowledge to ourselves and feel it. I am love. I am love. I am abundance. I am. Declare those statements, because you're saying it to your inner divinity. You are making a demand on the universe. Don't be weak about it. Don't feel that's crazy. You've got to step into your power. And Ho'oponopono will help you to cleanse those negativity. Remember, the universe is waiting for your command. And if your command is some wimpy, oh, I want this, or oh, wouldn't that be nice? Then that's what you're going to continue to have. You need to declare it as true. You don't need to know how it's going to happen, but you just need to declare it. And I like that, just saying, I am money, I am prosperity, I am health. Know it, feel it, and when you have the doubts, do your Ho'oponopono. Next slide. So, can this phrase be used preventatively? You can say, I'm sorry, forgive me, thank you, I love you, even when you're not experiencing any actual conflict. This allows you to erase any memories that have emerged without your knowledge. Some people recite this phrase as a mantra when they're walking, hiking, or riding a bike. Yeah, just say it. I'm just driving. You can just say it. I love you, I'm sorry, thank you, please forgive me. It just builds up an energy. It just does the cleansing. And what Dr. Hugh Lenz said is that it may be clearing up negative memories that you're not even aware of, that may be ready to bubble to the surface, and you've popped it by just saying, thank you, I love you, I'm sorry, forgive me. And it doesn't need to now manifest because you've already erased it. Now, I know it might sound, I'm listening to it, I'm thinking, wow, somebody listening to me for the first time might be thinking, God, this is crazy. And, but it's been proven to work. And if you believe it, it will work. And if you use it, it will work. And it will bring you peace. Because remember, what we focus on is what we bring about. Because our conscious mind focuses on something, it gets planted in our subconscious mind. So versus negative, fear thoughts based on past memories that now you're reinforcing in your subconscious, wouldn't it be better to be dropping into your subconscious positive affirmations, positive phrases all the time? So that your subconscious is working on it. The universe is working on it. That part of you, that divinity within you says, oh, Laura, really, this is who Laura is. We got to bring it in because this is what Laura believes. This is what Laura is. So just start using it. It's such an easy thing. Just start using it. And just, the thank you, I love you. Even if you just, like I said, that's the mantra I use a lot. Thank you, I love you. And when you start saying that, what you're going to notice is more things that you are grateful for, more things that you just take for granted as an everyday thing in your life. You're going to start expanding your awareness of how truly blessed you are in so many ways. Like I said, I just driving here, looking at these I can't tell you how inspired I am or how much gratitude I have every day when I wake up and just see these magnificent mountains that we have surrounding us. I felt like I was in Denver, Colorado the other day with all the snow we've had in the mountains, and it was beautiful, so beautiful. Feel that energy when you see something. It really reinforces, it opens your heart, it opens you to receive more good in your life and being that good. So remember, just by using this, you might be preventing something from coming up that might be ready just to pop to the surface. But by you saying that, you're going to dissolve it. Next slide, Krista. So, can you say this phrase during a happy event? Yes, you have it at your disposal. It's a tool that allows you to put your ego to bed and fully experience joy in complete humility. Yeah, let's say you do something great, it's not about your ego, like, oh wow, look, I just did this wonderful thing, isn't this great? No, it's just you're grateful. You're grateful for this experience of joy. You're grateful when you do something and you see the joy that it brings somebody else. That's a great joy, to know that you made a difference in somebody's life. When you do something kind, yes, you're doing something for them, but there's only one of us. So it's a double gift. It's a gift to yourself, and it's a gift to that person that is receiving this. And also I want to remind you too that when somebody does something, offers to do something nice to you or gives you something, don't say no, 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 thank you. You don't have to do that. Because what you're doing is you're cutting off their joy. You're cutting off the opportunity for them to experience the joy of doing something for you. And so you just say, thank you. Thank you so much. I so appreciate that. You get the gift and they get the gift. All right. So just, don't feel guilty about experiencing joy. That's what we came here for. Yes, yes, Diana. I know. I was so happy to look at this again. I forgot how powerful. Diana says, time to start practicing again. Thank you for the reminder. Yes, absolutely. It is such a beautiful, powerful thing. Remember, everything is energy. All right, Krista, our next slide. Okay, I like this one. Can you do Ho'oponopono while watching television? Yes. Yes. You can perform Ho'oponopono in the context of anything that inspires negative emotions, including television, the internet, or the news. Okay, we're being bombarded. We're constantly being bombarded by negative information, news. We want to stay informed, but when we really immerse ourselves in that negativity, yes, get your little clip and then know what's going on today, but don't immerse yourself. And in those moments when you feel the fear or anger come up, do that. What is my part in this? I am so sorry for anything in my consciousness that I may not even be aware of that is contributing to this. And thank you for showing this to me, that knowing that I need to heal this, I need to let this go. I love you. I love me. And, you're grateful. You're grateful. Remember, anything, Dr. Hewlin and even practitioners, I always tell my practitioners, you're going to be amazed when clients come to you with issues because really they're going to be a reflection of issues that we as a practitioner minister have to deal with too. And there's something within us. And so that cleansing, that knowing the truth of who we are, that's what practitioners are. Knowing this truth and letting it go and realizing that that isn't the truth of who I really am. This does not define your circumstance, does not define who you are. You get to define who you are. So if something comes up that brings up a negative emotion, do this. Say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you. And just do it. Just do it until you have a sense of calmness. All right. And then maybe turn the TV off. That might help too. All right. Next. Must you say every word of the phrase? So this is when you begin practicing it, take time to speak the full phrases, all 4 of them, until you fully integrated the sensation of each word. That's what's so important. After this, thank you, I love you is enough. And that's really, truly what I want. But I do now. But there's that realization, even though I don't do thank you, sometimes I do it. If it's a really big one, I will say thank you because I'll realize, boy, I didn't even know that was there within me to be upset about. But just like I said, and I always say, just go around saying thank you, I love you. There's an energy about that. There's just such a strong, beautiful energy. Yes, Diana, we do live in paradise for sure, and we shouldn't take it for granted. We are so blessed here. I feel sometimes like the Coachella Valley is this bubble, and there's and we live in this wonderful bubble of great people, and we're so truly blessed here. Not that other places aren't wonderful, but I know that this is where I'm supposed to be, and I feel very blessed. So I say thank you and I love you. It just start off your day saying, I love me. I love me. I am love. And today I experience love in everything I see and do. Just a simple phrase. I mean, if you just say that and you start saying it and you start feeling it, you'll notice that the energy within you just elevates. And what's going to happen is you're going to see more things in that day. By starting your day that way, you are going to see. Remember the beliefs and the perceptions, they start feeding off of each other. You're going to see more magnificent things. You're going to experience more things. Even just, I am abundant. I love all the money I have. I'm so grateful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for this day. Thank you. I love you. I love my life. Love your body. You start feeling pains in your body somewhere or aches. Start saying, I love you, knees. I love you. I love you. I love you. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me that I need to love you more when that pain comes up or something. But just by speaking that I love you is so important. And thank you. Gratitude and compassion is also a good one. But so the compassion I think comes in when you said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you're going through. There's something. If you come to me, then now this is mine to cleanse on. This is something that I need to cleanse on. So if a friend comes to you and is sharing with you a difficult time, then do your Ho'oponopono. And I'm sorry, I love you, thank you. Please forgive me if there's anything I've done in my subconscious to also empower the situation. Please forgive me. Next slide, please. So what happens after you say it? There's a sense of calm that's established. You have no expectation about what is happening because the essential benefit of Ho'oponopono is that you receive inner peace. That is the power of Ho'oponopono. Any disease, anything you have in your body, maybe that's giving you a challenge, it's because there is some negativity, there's some unrest in your subconscious mind, maybe that you aren't even aware of. That's manifesting now on the outside as pain, discomfort, dis-ease. So the more that you can be at peace, that inner peace, think about it. When you're at peace, you're not worried about the rent, your health, your relationship, anything. You are just at peace. And that's what Joe Vitale talked about at Zero Limits is that's when you have the power to create what you want. Make the declaration of that which you want. Not from a place of wanting, though, but from a place of knowing and claiming it and choosing it as your reality. You choose this to happen right here and right now. And that is the beauty of it. Next one, please. So this is a prayer, and I'm not sure if I got this in the book or where, but think of this. I am the I. I come forth from the void into light. I am the breath that nurtures life. I am that emptiness, that hollowness beyond all consciousness, the I, the id, the all. I draw my bow of rainbows across the waters, the continuum of minds with matters. I am the incoming and outgoing breath, the invisible, untouchable breeze, the undefinable atom of creation. I am the I. And that is who you are. You are that I am. I am I. You are that divinity. We really don't believe that. We really that is not what we were told as a child. And remember, our really who we believe we are by the time of 8, we're pretty well programmed in who we think we are and what we believe about reality because it's been so ingrained into our subconscious mind. And so if you were blessed where you weren't taught that, then you need to be very grateful. But here's the thing. You think, well, I remember growing up in, how they would tell us when we were young, Laura, you better eat all your food on your plate because there are children in China starving. I remember my mom used to say that to me. And I used to think, well, why did God let me be here where I have food? Why wasn't I born in China and had to go through that? And so I think that I believe that we all choose our circumstances before we come here. You may not agree with me, but I believe we chose certain aspects of our life so that we could choose in relationship to what happens, who we are going to be, who we are going to choose to be in every circumstance. Somebody cut you off on the freeway. Are you going to be that angry person that allows that energy, that negative energy to go within you? Or are you going to bless them and think, wow, maybe they must have something really important to get to, and if anger comes up, I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you. Thank you for an opportunity to let me let go of anger. Thank you for the opportunity to know that that's not important in my life. Those are the things. This is not worth me upsetting my body. Think about your little cells in your body going along, doing their work, what they're supposed to do, and all of a sudden you get angry. What are you doing? You're sending electrical shocks and you're zapping them with that negativity, that negative energy. Isn't it better to be sending the cells in your body love and gratitude for everything they're doing? They're doing their job beautifully and perfectly, and you are so grateful for what they do without you even thinking about it. So every moment is an opportunity to choose who you're going to be. Does that mean you're going to do it 100% from this place of kumbaya, I love you? Maybe you will. I haven't gotten there. I want to read your book when you have that down. So I just want to review real quickly with you some points. On our webpage, there's a little outline in there for you if you want it. Just a quick reminder of what the four statements say and what they're for and how to use them. So I just want to remind you about when you do it. It's from the Zero Limits book. What it does is, I got this. Ho'opono is not your free ticket to guilt trip. Being 100% responsible is not the same as feeling infinitely guilty for miseries. It's a reminder of your creative powers and a gentle welcome to return back to your inner nature. That is your 0 point. And when you return back to your most inner nature, to 0, everything becomes available to you effortlessly. And you are being driven by inspiration from divinity, not by petty ego wants. So Ho'oponopono 0 is the same thing that Eckhart Tolle names the unmanifested. So when you're in that place of doing the Ho'oponopono, you're at 0, you're at peace. That's when you manifest that which you desire. That's a great time to claim what you want from that place of peace. Claim it as being now. Not that you want it, not that, oh, universe, make this happen and this happen so I'll be happy. No, be happy right now and claim that you are happy, you are prosperous, you are healthy. Do that and your life will change. So just as a reminder, what you're doing, remember, you're cleaning out the programs that are within you. And so there's a link there that you can go to about the Ho'oponopono if you want more. It's just like a quick synopsis so that you can have it handy for you. And I also want to share with you, next week I'm going to have Lou Molberg on, who is a Qigong master. Lou's from our center. She's been teaching Tai Chi for years. And, you know, I took it for a while and then they changed hours and I couldn't do it. And it's such a powerful, it's like a moving meditation. And anyway, she's got some great insights for you. So join me next week. Also, don't forget to support the center so that we can continue bringing you these programs at 10 o'clock. And I want to ask a favor of you. I'm thinking in March, I'm thinking of doing a little different format, and I need your help. What I would like to do, you know, like the Dr. Laura Schlesinger, well, I want to be the good Dr. Laura. And I want, if you have questions about anything about spirituality or just something you're being challenged with, or maybe you have an that you want to share, would you just email me and email right Dr. Dr. Laura, Laura 92260 at Gmail. I'll have them post it next week, .com with your questions. And then I'll read your questions maybe and try to answer them and give you some spiritual insights, hopefully, that will not only help you. I guarantee you, if you're having a challenge, there's somebody else out there that's having that same challenge. And like with Ho'oponopono, it's an opportunity for me to heal something within myself that you're sharing that is being brought to my awareness. So again, next week will be Lou Molberg and Get Your Chi On, which is about energy. Or you can email me to laurashackelford8@gmail also if you have the questions. And I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear any questions, or tell your friends if they have something they're going with. Well, you should write to Dr. Laura and she'll answer it. And I'll start doing that in March, and probably I'm sure I'll have other guests, but I'd like to devote every once in a while a class. Also in March, I'm going to be doing my 40-day prosperity plan, which I know people have raved about and has really made a difference in their life. So what I'm trying to do is give you positive feedback, empower you. I don't want to be the power. I want to give you tools to empower your life so that you have that higher view of life every day. That's what we're here for. We are here to experience life, to love life, to be that joy, to see that joy, to we are changing lives one heart at a time. We start with our heart and then we help others with their heart. So have a wonderful week. You are loved, and I'll see you next week on The Higher View.